Over the past few years, Mozilla has been going through a bit of a shakeup. Laura Chambers came in as the new Mozilla CEO in 2024, at the time as the interim CEO, but at this point it's pretty clear that it's going to be permanent. Google's funding of Mozilla has been in a very precarious situation following a lawsuit from the US where, depending on if it goes through, which is a very big depends because of the new administration, Google could be forced to pull out of all of the search deals they do. And Mitchell Baker, the former CEO and one of Mozilla's founders, did remain at the company, but as a board member, and Mozilla has been trying out a lot of different things. You know Mozilla as the Firefox company, but there are so many other things they try and so many other things they miss. This was going to be a video about Mozilla's leadership shakeup, and don't worry, that's still the rest of the video. But this just happened today. Firefox's terms of use, something they never had before and have just introduced. They also have a privacy policy, but I don't really care about that. There's not really anything objectionable from what I can see in that. This one, on the other hand, there's a bit of a problem. Now, a browser, even an open source browser, having a terms of use, not new. Most of them have something, at least most of the big ones. The problem is a specific set of terms. Most of this you don't really care about. It's all pretty much just boilerplate. This right here is a bit more of a problem though. You give Mozilla all rights necessary to operate Firefox, including processing data as we describe in the Firefox privacy notice, as well as acting on your behalf to help you navigate the internet. When you upload or input information through Firefox, you hereby grant us a non-exclusive, royalty-free, worldwide license to use that information to help you navigate, experience, and interact with online content as you indicate with your use of Firefox. This is not a normal term to have in a browser. Basically, what is being said here is if you input data in Firefox, if you upload, a picture or something like that, you're giving Mozilla the right to do basically anything they want with it. Just so we're clear, this is not a normal set of terms you have in a web browser and is not something Mozilla has ever had before. Throughout its entire life, Firefox has been able to operate without this term, and basically every other browser is able to do the same. Now, because a lot of people got very angry about this, in the announcement post over here, introducing a terms of use and updated privacy notice for Firefox, they added this update. We've seen a little confusion about the language regarding licenses, so we want to clear that up. We need a license to allow us to make some of the basic functionality of Firefox possible. Without it, we couldn't use information typed into Firefox, for example. It does not give us ownership of your data or a right to use it for anything other than what is described in the privacy notice. Now, this is a very specific choice wording. It does not give them ownership of your data. What it does do is grant them a, once again, non-exclusive, royalty-free, worldwide license. So, they do not have ownership of your data. That is correct. But this framing of it, it's cheeky. Now, it might be true that in its current state, the privacy notice does not have anything malicious. But this is really, really dangerous to grant to your web browser, especially one that's getting a little bit interested in AI. But the funnier thing that no one's talking about is you are responsible for the consequences of your use of Firefox. Your use of Firefox must follow Mozilla's acceptable use policy, and you agree that you will not use Firefox to infringe anyone's rights or violate any applicable laws or regulations, taking you to the acceptable use policy, which, interestingly, is not actually linked on their legal page. The only way to find it is from this page right here. Don't really know why. Now, don't get me wrong. The things in here, for the most part, are bad, and you shouldn't do it. Like, don't harm children. I think we can all agree that that is bad. But things like engage in or promote illegal gambling. So if you are, going to an unregulated gambling site, that's violating the terms of using Firefox. Or do anything illegal or otherwise violate applicable laws. So if you maybe, torrent something that's, illegally acquired content, that's violating the terms of Firefox. And here we have that explicitly laid out: violate the copyright, trademark, patent, or other intellectual property rights of others. Patents are a very interesting one because software patents, depending on where you are, may not necessarily be enforceable. Upload, download, transmit, display, or grant access to content that includes graphic depictions of sexuality or violence. So, I guess you can't have porn in Firefox? And you can't, you can't watch maybe an MMA fight. Like, what in the world are these terms? Like, this is entirely unenforceable. I have no idea what they are doing here. And remember, this isn't talking about Mozilla's servers, sending them data. This is specifically saying your use of Firefox. Surely, I have to be misinterpreting this because this is beyond stupid. On that note, let's go back to the regularly scheduled video. Now it appears that we're in for a bit more of a shakeup. Growing Mozilla and evolving our leadership. Since 2022, Mozilla has been in an active process of evolving what we do and renewing our leadership. Today we announced several updates on the leadership piece of this ongoing work. But first, let's go over to that piece and see what that's about. Evolving together, redefining Mozilla in the AI era. I've done a couple of videos on the AI tools Mozilla has been putting out, and frankly, I just don't really see much value in the work they're doing. It kind of feels like they're, 3 or 4 years behind, which in the AI space is about 50 years behind. Mozilla stands for putting people and communities in control of how technology shows up in their lives. In 1998, that meant taking the web in a better direction. In 2024, it means doing the same for AI and making sure that open source wins again in the AI era. Open source and AI is still an open question. What do we actually mean by open source? Because you're seeing people use that term. Like, Meta uses it a lot. You see it a lot from, obviously, OpenAI doesn't use it as much anymore. They did early on. You hear it from DeepSeek and things like that. But all of these people that use it have a different meaning of it. When we say open source code, we have an established meaning for what that is. It's the open source definition. But with AI, that's still an open question, and we're seeing these definitions where, like, model weights being open makes it open source, but none of the training data is open, so you actually have no way to rebuild the model from scratch. So it's not open to the same extent. I would like something where everything is open. You know how it was trained, you know the data it was trained on, everything. Data and AI have become fundamental building blocks with which we create digital tools we all use every day. And as it was with the web 25 years ago, whoever controls these building blocks and how they work has a tremendous impact on our agency, our relationships, and our lives. In 2019, we shifted most of the Mozilla Foundation's philanthropic and advocacy work to focus on trustworthy AI and ramped it up 2 years ago. Some of the things we tried didn't go anywhere, but a few have legs. For example, the Common Voice project has shown that a global community can build training datasets that make AI more inclusive and reflective of the people who use it. And the Responsible Computing Challenge has gathered over 36,000 faculty members, professors, and students across 3 continents to demonstrate that human values and computer science can be taught side by side in the same classroom. Based on this early learning, we decided to add 2 brand new organizations to the Mozilla portfolio that could focus on trustworthy AI from the ground up. a venture firm to back startups building products aligned with the Mozilla Manifesto, and our own startup aimed at helping the open source AI community reach a larger audience of developers. Mozilla has always had a unique economic model, one that combines the economics of movements with the economics of markets. That's a needlessly excessive way to say that. The seeds of this model began with the open source code from a commercial browser, Market, and a community of people around the world who turned that code into something that challenged the world's biggest software company, Movements. And from early on, it included donations from tens of thousands of supporters, Movements, and then royalties from search agreements with companies like Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, Market. I do like how Yahoo and Microsoft are sort of considered in the same category as Google here. Google is the majority of Mozilla's funding, like the majority of their funding. When I say things like Mozilla is a Google sub-brand, that's what I mean. As we look into the future, it's clear we need to continue to further diversify this economic model, both to create new revenue sources and new kinds of impact, especially around AI and associated data-driven technologies. Evolving our economics is one of the hardest parts of becoming a new version of ourselves, and also one of the most critical. Even if you don't agree with the AI direction, they certainly need to do something with evolving what they do, because if Google ever stops paying them, they're cooked. Firefox isn't really getting any more popular. They try a bunch of different things and most of them don't really succeed. Pretty much their major success was something that was successful in spite of Mozilla, and that's Thunderbird. Thunderbird was really popular when it was separate from Mozilla and then came back into the fold. So let's go back over to the main post. We've recognized that Mozilla faces major headwinds in terms of their financial growth and mission impact, while Firefox remains the core of what we do. That's debatable. At least for a long time, it didn't feel like that. Maybe it's changed now under new leadership, but frankly, like, if you said what did Mozilla care the most about to most people who knew about Mozilla, they would say you should care about Firefox, but it wasn't clear you did. As I said, the only really successful project under Mozilla's banner right now is Thunderbird, and they don't need Mozilla. Like, they were doing good without Mozilla. Yeah. Yeah. We also need to take steps to diversify, investing in privacy-respecting advertising to grow new revenue in the near term. Remember how I said their leadership has really been shaken up over the past couple of years? This is how you know. This is how you know that that's exactly what has happened. Developing trustworthy open source AI to ensure technical and product relevance in the midterm, and creating online fundraising campaigns that will draw a bigger circle of supporters over the long run. Now, the problem with this is you need to get this stuff right first, and if people don't care about this stuff, the long-running funding campaigns will not work. The reason why it worked with Thunderbird is people really like Thunderbird and what Thunderbird is doing. But the rest of Mozilla's products, I guess besides MDN? Yeah, you know what? MDN is the other successful thing they have. But outside of that, what reason would people have to support Mozilla as it currently stands? One thing I will say regarding the privacy-preserving advertising is I remember when Brave was doing the exact same thing, and people were getting so angry about this. It was a fun time. Now, people are also getting angry at the crypto stuff, and maybe, you know, people are already angry, so they get angry about another thing, but it is nice to see that, you know... one of the people who's involved in the starting of Firefox, you know, the ideas are coming back around to Mozilla. We've also moved aggressively to attract new leadership and talent to Mozilla. This includes major growth in our boards, with 40% new board members since we began our efforts to evolve and grow back in 2022. we've also been bringing in new executive talent, including a new MoFo executive director. That is not that MoFo, that is Mozilla Foundation, just so we're clear, and a managing partner for Mozilla Ventures. By the end of the year, we hope to have new permanent CEOs for both MoCo, that being Mozilla Corporation, and Mozilla AI. I don't know why they're using like acronyms here, or shorthand is an acronym. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know why they're doing that without clarifying what they actually mean. And we are creating a Mozilla Leadership Council composed of the top executives from each of Mozilla's organizations. This includes Jane Silber from Mozilla AI, Laura Chambers from Mozilla Corporation, Mohammed Nanabe, I think, from Mozilla Ventures, Nabiha Saeed from Mozilla Foundation, and Ryan Sipes from MZLA/Thunderbird, along with Mark Sermon, who wrote this post. He will act as the chair. The purpose of this group is to better coordinate work across organizations to make sure that Mozilla is more than the sum of its parts. Now, here we have the leadership page. Let's take a look at each of these people. Here we have Jane Silber, who served as the CEO of Canonical. That was between 2010 and 2017. I'm not going to read each of their entire pages because I don't want to do that. I'll leave it linked down below if you want to check that out. Let's go to the next person. Here is Laura Chambers. At Airbnb, led the core host business, which accounted for 3/4 of the company's operations. At eBay and PayPal, held various roles, including driving a turnaround for eBay's core global consumer selling division and launching PayPal Mobile in 2009. And Willow Innovations, served as the CEO of this innovative wearable medical device company. Here we have Mohammed, spent nearly a decade at Al Jazeera, where he started the new media department, which focused on innovation and product development across internet, mobile, and social technologies. This is just like marketing, blah, 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 just anytime I see innovation and product development, my brain just turns off. In 2005, he founded Qatar Living, acquired in 2012, and he also co-founded Signal Noise, a social analytics platform for newsrooms that won the Night News Challenge. Here is Nabiha, who's the Chief Executive Officer of The Markup, an award-winning journalism non-profit that challenges technology to serve the public good. Prior to that, she was a media lawyer, and that spanned various things like the New York Times First Amendment Fellowship and leading BuzzFeed's libel and news gathering matters, including the successful defense of the Steele dossier litigations. For some reason, I don't really know why, Ryan doesn't actually have a page. Literally every single other person, I think every single other person on this entire page, okay, except the red panda here. Every person except the red panda has a page. Why does Ryan not? Anyway, I've had Ryan on the podcast before. Chill dude, I like him. And here we have Mark Sermon. He is the president of Mozilla and was executive director of Mozilla Foundation for 15 years. Also a founding director of telecenter.org. Now, along with this new leadership council, they're also expanding the board with 3 new seats. Nicole Wong, Kerry Cooper, and Rafi Krikorian. I'm bad with names, apologies. Let's start with Nicole. She served as Deputy US Chief Technology Officer in the Obama administration, focused on internet, privacy, and innovation policy. Prior to her time in the government, Nicole was Google's Vice President and Deputy General Counsel and X's, formerly Twitter, Legal Director for Products. Kerry Cooper held C-suite roles at Walmart, Rothy's, Choose Energy, and more. And now serves on boards spanning venture startups and AI innovation. Kerry has been on Mozilla Corporation's board for 2 years. Now, as for Rafi, he was an early engineering lead at Twitter, headed Uber's self-driving car lab, and is now CTO at Emerson Collective. Now, this is the boring part. Let's go to his description on the Mozilla website. When Trump was elected in 2016, Ruffy pivoted to put his technological know-how to use in the political realm. He joined the Democratic National Committee as their first ever chief technology officer to create a unique team fused with campaign and industry veterans to secure the party after its breach by Russian state actors in the last presidential election, and to entirely revamp its tech infrastructure, all to enable Democrats to win the next few elections. Welp. Anyway, with these changes, Mitchell Baker ends her tenure as chair and a member of the Mozilla Foundation and Mozilla Corporation boards. In co-founding Mozilla, Mitchell built something truly unique and important, a global community and organization that showed how those with vision can shape the world and the future by building technology that puts the needs of humans and humanity first. We are extremely grateful to Mitchell for everything she has done for Mozilla, and we are committed to continuing her legacy of fighting for a better future. That makes it sound like she's dead. Fighting for a better future through better technology. I know these feelings are widely shared across Mozilla. We are incredibly appreciative to Mitchell for all that she has done. Interestingly, though, whilst there was the announcement from Mitchell when she stepped down as CEO, there's no quote from her in this post, and from my understanding, there's not really any statement that went out from her as she left the board, and with her being such, a crucial part of the company, that just seems kind of weird. It's not to say that it's anything, to take from that, but it's certainly weird and worth noting. Mozilla is entering a new chapter, one where we need to both defend what is good about the web and steer the technology and business models of the AI era in a better direction. I believe that we have the people, indeed, we are the people to do this, and that there are millions around the world ready to help us. I am driven and excited by what lies ahead. I just don't really know how Mozilla claws its way out of the hole it's been in for God knows how long now. I'm not as anti-AI as a lot of people out there. But what I am anti is wasting resources on things that people who support your products don't want. And there's a lot of people that support Mozilla, really the only people that do support Mozilla at this point, that aren't super favorable of AI. There's a lot of people in this space that really hate it. And if, let's say, you do go down this AI route, if what you produce ends up just being worse than what everyone else is, yes, it's good that it's open, but the reason why Mozilla was able to compete in those early days is Firefox was a good option, and Thunderbird competes because Thunderbird is a really good email client. But if you're making something subpar, what reason is there for people to use it when there's so many options out there, especially when a lot of companies are using the term open source just to mean slightly different things? Mozilla, for a long time now, has had this issue of being very late to basically every single trend. Make something subpar, and then move on to the next subpar adventure. I want a strong Firefox. I want a strong Mozilla. I don't know how you provide value in this AI space as a small competitor without getting massive VC backing or just yoinking what OpenAI is doing like it's done with certain other models. Building something from the ground up, though, I just don't know how you make that provide value to normal people. But what do you think? Do you like this direction that Mozilla is going in? Do you think they should focus more on other things? I would love to know. So if you like the video, go like the video. If you really like the video and you want to become one of these amazing people over here, check out the Patrons. Subscribe, Stanley Parapet, link in the description down below. That's going to be it for me, and I don't know what Mozilla's doing.